This is a video for the Luke 140 Syndicate. Well, guys, we pulled it off. I wasn't real confident, to be quite honest, of how Luke would go at Kentucky. I really felt like a year layoff last year could have, it could have been a bit much for him. But this horse is a legend. To be away from the sport for well over 12 months and have a very sort of limited preparation just goes to show what a champion Luke is. He was basically brilliant in all three phases. This is his dressage test. Obviously, he went on Friday lunchtime. He was sort of halfway through the field, and he went very, very well. We had one late flying change, which is so annoying because he'd done clean changes every step of the way until we got to the competition ring. So we had lots and lots of 8s and a couple 9s, and unfortunately our first halt he tripped and stumbled on the first halt. We got a 5, and then the first flying change in the Serpentine we were late behind. Saying that, we got a 27.9, and to get a 27.9 in a 5-star dressage test is a huge accomplishment. The judges were a little bit undecided on him. One judge had him at 69%, one judge had him at 72%, and one judge had him at 74%. So, saying that, this was a very, very complicated test, and there's so many movements in it that often there's a little bit of a discrepancy of the scores. My biggest concern of the whole dressage test was the walk. Luke is one crazy high energy horse, and it was raining, and I was sort of nervous that he might get distracted in the rain. And funny enough, I think it actually helped us, sort of gave him something to think about. But in all of our lead-up competition, he when you go to collect the walk, he starts anticipating the canter, and he starts sort of jogging around and trotting, and he's got this is extended walk here. And he got good scores for extended walk. I think he got 8s or 7s. And then from this marker on, you go in collected walk. And the whole week I practiced that transition from big open walk to collected walk. And Silver had me going in a little bit of shoulder in to try and keep him walking. And I'm barely breathing on him with my legs there. But he was a good boy. He stayed nice and settled, and we actually got good marks to the walk. So we had two dings in the test, which was the first halt, which he stumbled in and tripped a bit, which was a bit unlucky, and then you'll see the late change in a second. This was a huge competition for Luke. Obviously, we've had two leg injuries, one in each front leg over the years, and part of me is just worried. I don't know, like he's a bit hard on himself, Luke. Like he jumps really big. He's a little guy. Every single day he's wild. He's jumping around and rearing and bucking, and he's not easy on his legs. The most impressive thing of this weekend is he achieved 7th place at the 5-star without that deep base of fitness that he lost from being on the sidelines from last year. The fact that he did not much last year really counts against you. Like the fitness you have from the previous 3-day event or the year before galloping is huge. And I noticed that in our gallop work, the 3 horses did all the same gallops. And now this is our late flying change. I let him get a bit long here, and you see his hind leg changed one stride after. I noticed when we did all the gallops, we do gallop all the Bruno, Connor, and Luke together, and because Luke's the naughty one, I usually end up riding him, and in the gallops he struggled. Like I could feel him struggling a bit more than the other 2 horses, even though he's a bit more of a natural athlete. And I just think now that we've completed our 5-star, we're going to have a real horse for the end of this year. And touch wood, I think we've got through this event with no injuries. Obviously, injuries can still show up a couple of weeks later, but his legs were tight. He was super sound. His tendons had no swelling, or they're not sore or anything like that. So, and I was terrified that his tendons might get injured, because the ground was quite deep and holding, and by the time we had a couple of inches of rain the night before, and the footing on the cross country was a bit boggy, and I thought, oh God, not sort of bowed tendon ground. But we had Luke very, very fit, and I have to say, when you look at his galloping action here, he's quite light on his feet. Like he when he gallops, he doesn't hit the ground hard. My first horse, Bruno, got really, really tired. So subconsciously, I think I was a little bit soft on Luke. The other part that's tricky with Luke is he gets wild. You see him sort of running at the jump there, and then I've got to get better at this. I end up having a bit of an argument with him coming to the jump, and every time I sort of yank him back with my hand, it slows down and it tires him out a bit. And I talked to Philip about it a bit, and he thinks I need to change the style of my riding a bit, which I totally agree with, because with our slower time, I think we could shave off at least 20 seconds, just if I could just find a way where he was a little bit lighter in the hand and a little bit softer in the hand, that when I'm going to the jumps, that I'm not sort of yanking him back. It's a little bit him and it's a little bit me. He sees the jump and he bolts at it, and then as he's bolting to the jump, I yank him back. And anyway, we've got to figure out. This is the head of the lake. This is our worst jump. We sort of landed in there. That was supposed to be 6 strides. I ended up on a really dead 7 strides, and then by now he was getting a little bit tired, and I wasn't seeing good sort of forward distance, especially we went to the long way here, and I've got to be more efficient here. Obviously, we're definitely going to aim him for a 5-star at the end of the year. And now that he's got this big event under him, I think he'll come out really, really strong for our second 5-star this year. This horse is gutsy, though. This Cosequin Cove, this next water jump, was the hardest jump on the course. We're about 9 minutes here. And Luke is just... as difficult of a horse he is, he'll do anything to get through these flags. And this was riding in a 2 or a 3, and we basically got there on 2.5. And Luke is a legend. He just ploughed through it, and it was just lucky it was a brush fence. And he's a champion. I mean, he's one of my favourites. He's a difficult horse, but I love him. You could see it there over the last couple of fences. He is starting to run out of juice. So we ended up on 14 time penalties. I was probably a little bit cautious on him. Obviously, the rideability cost us some time, and the fact that he hasn't competed at a 5-star since Le Moulin, I think it really sort of showed up a bit. The great news is I believe that Luke got through this unscathed, and we'll get his legs scanned. In 10 days' time. Sometimes the small injury shows up a fair bit later after the event, but like I said before, he trotted up perfectly. His legs were ice cold, and we're in good shape for the show jumping. Luke was actually the first horse to show jump in the class. After the cross country, we're in 9th place, and Luke jumped like a freak in the show jumping. It was a big course. Like the cross country, we hadn't seen too many big show jumping courses. If you remember, we were planning to take Luke to the World Equestrian Centre in Ocala in February to jump some metre 30 classes, but we were a bit concerned about his legs, and we decided to play it safe and not take him there. So, and then his legs ended up being all right. So we had a decent round. It was a pretty big show jumping course at Stableview, but nothing like this. This was a ginormous course, and I mean, this horse is he's just a freakishly careful, scopy, champion horse, and he put in a clear round to finish us up. We moved up a couple of places. We finished in 7th place, so it's been a bit of an up and down career with Luke, but we finished at 4th at Lemullin and 7th at Kentucky 5-Star now. So I feel like now that he's sort of what I'd call a seasoned 5-star horse, we're going to just aiming for the really big competitions around the world. I truly think Luke's still got a big future ahead of him, and now that I feel like he's seasoned and experienced, we don't have to run him or compete him too much to prepare him for the big events. And that's a huge saver, that, always being a bit mindful of his legs and his soundness. But he's a fantastic horse. He's a champion, and I'd like to thank everyone in the syndicate for sticking by me. I know it's been a bit of an up and down career with Luke. We've probably should have gone to 2 Olympic Games on him, if you think back to Tokyo and Paris, and the 2 times that he's been injured. It's been frustrating, but anyway, guys, it's been a long road to get to this event, and thank you all for your support. I apologise that I didn't get an opportunity to hang out with the owners as much as I want to at Kentucky. It's a frustrating event for me. I'm getting dragged around in all different directions with the sponsors and signings, and it drives me nuts. And to have 3 horses there was an amazing amount of course walks, and anyway, very, very grateful. And Luke deserves a good rest. He's going out to the field and hang out for a couple of weeks to regroup.